It is 1:02. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Tennessee football in the news today after reports of contract negotiations surfaced yesterday. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava was not at Tennessee practice this morning ahead of the orange and white game, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel. In NFL news, the Browns have reached agreement with veteran quarterback Joe Flacco on a one-year, $4 million deal worth up to $13 million in incentives. Flacco played for the Browns in 2023, where he was named the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. The Texans have agreed to terms on a new deal for safety Jalen Petrie, as he gets a 3-year deal worth roughly $39 million. The 2022 second-round pick had 44 tackles with 1 interception in 2024. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. And just as this show begins, the Nico era in Tennessee is coming to an end, it looks like, as he is demanding more money after a mediocre season. And it was a wild 24 hours. So yesterday, the news kind of broke on our show. Mm-hmm. We talked about it. Last night, friend of the family, a coach over in Florida, attacks the guy who initially broke the story, saying he's a liar.
Pete Nakos?
Yeah, Pete Nakos. He called him a liar, and all this stuff, and some other words as well. And then Nico's dad got involved and said none of this is true, and blah, 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 blah. And then what happens this morning? Nico does not show up to the spring game practice. And man, oh man, what a 24 hours it is for Rocky Top down there. Why don't you play the music? Where's the music for Rocky Top?
I'm good. Shut up.
But I mean, like,
how you feeling there?
I'm not feeling good back here.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Brent Hubbs.
So Brent Hubbs of VolQuest was on RK Dub this morning, and Jackson, I'm going to let dealer's choice of which clip you want to play first, since I'm just reveling in your misery. Because this would never happen at an organization, at a prestigious football program like Alabama or Ball State. It's only happening. It's only happening at the University of Tennessee.
It would never happen at Ball State. We don't even have money. Not like that. Not like that. Oh no, boy, that may be the budget for the entire football team.
So which clip do you want to play first, Jackson? Are you still looking for it? Oh, he answered the phone. So we got someone calling in probably to yell at me and, go easy on Tennessee football.
I guess kind of take us through, what do you think is really going on here?
I think he wants more money. I think it's just as simple as that. I think that the negotiations, according to Chris Lowe, I was trying to think of the perspective of who leaked this and what benefit do they have is what I'm talking about. Well, I think the team obviously leaked it.
That's
because,
exactly
obviously
where I'm
it pissed
going.
off 2 people on the other side that the story even came out.
Yes.
So the team leaked it.
Yeah, they leaked it because, guess what? They have been negotiating this whole entire time, Jackson, and then they've reached a point where, how can we get him over the hump? Because he keeps asking for more. And then they leaked it, and they knew that the family would get embarrassed and everything else. Yep. And that's what happened.
Now,
here.
who looks like the bad guy? Not, quote unquote,
Nico and his dad.
Guy.
On their side of the agent, whoever, but their side. Yep. Oh, no doubt. And the fans are going to go after him.
Well, Chris Lowe said Tennessee quarterback Nico, amid reports that he wanted to renegotiate his NIL deal, did not show at Friday morning's practice, sources told ESPN, and it was a surprise. A surprise to Tennessee staff members and players. Nico's reps denied Thursday there was any renegotiation talk. And then Chris continues. Reps were at Nico's reps were adamant Thursday to news outlets that there was no NIL renegotiation going on, but sources tell ESPN that there has been growing frustration among the administration and players about the situation, especially when Nico didn't show for practice. He continues. Right before the winter portal closed, Nico's reps wanted to see his deal up to $4 million range. And again, this time...
per year.
Yep. And again, this time as the spring portal opens this coming Wednesday. And according to sources, Tennessee officials said they, quote, weren't going to blink.
See? And that's why it got leaked. And they're playing, this is cat and mouse right here.
Yeah.
This is true negotiation. You know what I love about this, though? This is pro sports already in college. They're getting a dose of what happens with your negotiations in the media.
I just find it so fascinating, this whole thing. So which one do you want to play?
We're going to play him talk about what we know about Nico.
Okay.
Well, what we know is that Nico's going to go through the spring game tomorrow. Obviously, there is a report by Pete Nakos from On3 saying they were negotiating or renegotiating on his contract. Pete wrote that story for whatever for his reasons. He had multiple sources that he felt comfortable with saying that this was going on. Last night, Nico's father went to Twitter and said sternly that the story was inaccurate and was wrong. And Cordell Landers, who is a close friend, confidant of the family, came out and said not only was the story wrong, but that Nico was very happy with the current deal he's on. Everything's good. Everything's great at Tennessee. So what's the truth? And this is the hard part, and I'm not going to try to ramble all morning in this segment because nobody wants me to do that. But this is the challenge in covering NIL, because there is no FOI in an NIL contract. You can't find out what somebody's deal is because it's through a third party. So there is no state law that says a public institution has to give you all the information about that. We know that fans want to know, or they think they want to know, the transparency of all of this, and then maybe they don't really want to know how the sausage is made ultimately. We also know student athletes don't want that information out there. That's why Olivia Dunn testified in front of the House settlement saying it's none of your business how much money I make. I shouldn't have to report it to anybody. We have multiple states from Oregon to Tennessee and everywhere else that are introducing laws to limit that information. Oregon doesn't want to report it at all to the enforcement arm. The Tennessee proposed law says we'll report it to the enforcement arm, but the media can't, and it's not public information. Why? Those places, schools don't want other schools to know how they're managing their roster, so that nobody can look at a list of numbers at another school and go, hey, let's go after this player, or hey, let's act like we're going after this player and drive the price up there so that we can go after somebody else. So everybody wants to know or thinks they want to know, but there is no absolute in this because there's no clear transparency in it. Let's go back to the Nick Saban story. Nick Saban was going to Alabama. It was reported widely that he was going to Alabama. Nick Saban comes out and says, I'm not going to Alabama. That's not true. Well, at some point, rubber was going to meet the road. He either became the coach at Alabama or he didn't. So you had closure and you had knowledge. In this case, Nico could be the quarterback this fall, and there'll be a section of people that say, well, he must have got a new deal. But we'll never know if he got a new deal unless his people put out that he got a new deal, because what you end up having in these situations with the lack of transparency is he said, she said.
That was a lot to take in, but really good information. I also find it interesting, and this is something that Lucas brought up on the Buck Rising show earlier today, was that if he were to transfer, he cannot transfer to an SEC team unless he's willing to sit out for the year. So it has to be non-SEC team. And Lucas mentioned a couple of different places. You know, the one that Lucas mentioned was Oregon, who just lost Dylan Gabriel. And I'm thinking on the way in, I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good connection there, Lucas. I mean, that's also back on the West Coast.
Yeah,
and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, it's just very interesting. I mean, what is your thoughts on this entire situation? I mean, like, do you think that because we're obviously in favor of players getting paid, but do you think this is setting up, teams and athletic programs in the wrong direction?
Well, I just think that we're at a point where, I mean, now this the Wild Wild West. I mean, everybody is going to at some point get frustrated because now they can just re-up every year. Naturally, the pendulum swung to the left with all the players having somewhat of the leverage, and I think this is Tennessee trying to settle down the leverage. I think they were negotiating the whole time, and and then they leaked out the information because they felt like they had gone far enough in the negotiations. And so I think they thought their family was a good family and that they didn't want this information out there, and this would get them to, close the negotiations and it'll be over. And it hadn't. And I think they got upset, the family and Nico, and then he didn't show up for practice. But as far as until they have rules in place, this is all going to continue to happen. I mean, man, and to be honest, I mean, seeing what some of the newer guys or guys that aren't even on the same plane as him and what they're getting, I think, he has every right to, thinking like this. But you got to think, if he's doing it, man, every superstar on every team is going to be doing this along the way. And that is just a headache in all of itself. It may be why Nick Saban just like, hey, man, I'm done with this.
I mean, I
think so because he saw, oh, man, my third string running back is coming to me talking about, hey, you give me a meal or I'm out. But, dude, you only play like 10 plays the entire season. What are we talking about? So I think that's, it's the Wild Wild West, and it's just unfortunate. And now, they got to put on the big boy pants. Now college sports, especially football and basketball, they are actually pro sports, and until they have rules in place, which it doesn't look like it's nowhere near around the corner.
Right.
So it's going to be this way. I think at least they should try to change the rules. We kind of suggested that, talking with Jackson about transfer periods and times. I think they could at least adjust that a little bit to help them out as coaches. At this point in time, it's funny. I can't believe that. I feel like it's so far to the player side now. I just think this is ridiculous to a certain extent because, I mean, if you open it up and you can see people rosters and how much they're paying each of them, man, that's going down a whole nother road. So really, I want solutions more so than about this. Nico he's just taking advantage of the system. And they're just negotiating. It's business for the university. So at the same time, it's big boy business for Nico now, too. I mean, and that's where we're at. This is always about a business transaction all over the place for all these big-time five-star, starting quarterbacks in the SEC. So, man, I think this is just the beginning to not knowing whenever the end may be, not just with Nico, but with other players that coming along and for years to come until they get some rules in place.
Well, when we come back, we'll get to Justin, who's been holding patiently. He wants to talk about the Tennessee Volunteers, but we'll also be joined by Virgil Herring, two-time Tennessee PGA Teacher of the Year, three-time best-selling author, former Golf Channel Academy coach, and host of two podcasts, On the Verge and Elevated, and, of course, WSMV golf analyst to talk about the Masters. Is cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 105 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We're going to go to Justin, who wants to talk about Tennessee Volunteers and the utter disarray that they are in. Justin, what do you have to say about this disaster?
Well, like Blaine said, it is literally the Wild Wild West. But the thing I'm wondering is if it's all about the money for Nico, who's to say if Kirby or Florida or, somebody just like, hey, kid, we'll offer you top-notch dollar, come sit for a year, collect this NIL money, you'll be our next starter because you'll have to sit out, and then he's playing for another SEC team. I know it's highly unlikely, but if it's all about the money, who's to say he don't go to another SEC school, and just go play there and sit out and collect money until he's ready again?
Yeah. I mean,
I think he would go west, but if back closer to his house.
Yeah.
But it is a possibility. I don't know if he wanted to slow play his NFL timeline. But, you can't fear that he's going to go play for another SEC team. Matter of fact, if you decide and he decides to leave, you should lean into, okay, I hope we do get to play him. That's just how the nature of the sports. You can't run a university or a football program or a company fear of the person leaving, going somewhere else. I just don't buy into that. And if not, then you're held hostage. And guess what? Once it happens once, it's going to happen twice, 3 times, 4 times a lady. That's what you don't want that.
Well, and what the message it sends not only just across the nation, all these other programs, but to your own teammates.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question. How do you think NFL teams view this situation? Because obviously this will be on the radar, maybe not a deciding factor or anything like that in the long run, because, there's a lot of football still to be played. But this is at least something that's going to go down in your scouting notebook or in your player profile. A guy who had a mediocre season, a college average season, barely college average season, turns around and asks for more money at the first chance he gets. What do you think about how they view it?
Well, I don't think it will be that big of a deal, but it's definitely something they will ask. So it is going to be a note there. I don't really think that's something that the NFL is really concerned with now in today's climate of college football. Guys transferring because they're following the money, and a big time quarterback, 5-star guy. I'd be more asking, do you feel like you lived up to the billing? And obviously he has to say yes. And then if he left, then why he left. And it was just for the money. So, and that's what all these guys are about at this point. You can't be mad at them at the same time. So I don't think it would dock or hurt players for that, at least for me personally. And I know I kind of probably have a longer leash than most people, but that doesn't bother me because that's the culture and climate that they're playing in this today's age of college football. It's just that's the way it is.
All right, we're going to be joined now. We're going to switch to a little bit of golf talk because, hey, the Masters is going on. We're going to be joined now by Virgil Herring, WSMV golf analyst, and, of course, 2-time Tennessee PGA Teacher of the Year, 3-time best-selling author and former Golf Channel Academy coach and host of 2 podcasts on The Verge Elevated. You can follow him on Twitter at Virgil Tour Spin. And, Virgil, what's the biggest surprise as round 2 is going on of the Masters right now? What's the biggest surprise to you so far?
Well, I think the biggest surprise is that there's really no surprise. You see the best players in the world playing well. DeChambeau's up there. Scheffler's getting started and is already under par. Rory's playing solid. Those are the people that we would expect to see at the top, and that's what we're seeing. Justin Rose, maybe that might not be a household name to many, but he won the first Olympic gold medal in about 100 years, and he's won the U.S. Open at a really challenging golf course. One of the best players of his era. There's no weaknesses, and that's what makes Augusta National so special. If you are not one of the best players in the game, you can't handle all of the elements to the golf course. It's the best test of golf, in my opinion, for all of championship golf, and that's why we never see a bad champion at Augusta National.
How is Scottie Scheffler's hand so far? He had the Christmas Day injury that forced him to miss his first couple of starts. How do you see anything that is affecting his game with that hand injury?
Other than, I think anytime somebody's been on a tear and then they have a freak injury, it starts to play in their head, especially because it got delayed a little bit because it wasn't healing as fast. It starts to play with you a little bit. Plus you have, 12 weeks in which you really didn't hit a golf shot. So then, am I going to come back as good as I was? He hasn't won yet, although his game is trending in the right direction. I don't really think that there's anything to be concerned about, but these professional golfers, you might not know this, but generally speaking, they're pretty fragile. They're all one shot away from feeling like they can beat nobody. So it just takes one little bit, and they lose their confidence. And I would probably say there's a lot of sports that are similar, but I mean golf, because it's so mental and has spent so much time in a round of golf. Most of the time it's 4.5, 5 hours in tournament play. It's so exhausting. And it's one of those things where they just have to learn how to fight through it.
Okay, I don't know the golfer's name, but what's up with the golfer earlier this week that made headlines for taping his mouth shut so he wouldn't talk down to himself? I mean, what's going on with that?
No.
Well, I believe that gentleman was on the European tour. He's apparently he likes to get a little self-deprecating, and somewhere between a gimmick, a practical joke, and maybe lost a bet. I think there's a chance that he may have lost a bet in that deal. But I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know much about that player, and it would probably make sense to everybody out there that they don't either, because there's nobody that would really do that unless they're trying to gain attention for something.
We're on right now with Virgil Herring, WSMV golf analyst.
Yeah, Virgil, thanks for coming on, man. First and foremost, man, how does the atmosphere? Because I've never been. I've been invited a couple times. And I'm really pissed that I didn't take them up on that. But take us through the atmosphere at Augusta compared to the other majors. What makes it so special?
Man, my gosh, there's so many things. Okay, so first things first. The golf course is incredible. How the design of it, the architecture is incredible. The maintenance of the golf course. There's not a blade of grass out of place. And anybody who hears that, they're like, yeah. No, there's actually not a blade of grass out of place. It's run through very conservative, tight rules around the history of the game and the history of Augusta National. There's no cell phones. There's no pictures. Everybody's actually like the 1988 watching and clapping instead of watching and yelling. And then on top of that, they got the best food prices for the spectators, right? So you go there, you get a sandwich for $1.50, you get a drink for $2.50. So you're at the most incredible place in the world, but yet generally speaking, you feel like you're getting a great deal because they're providing all kinds of amenities to people out there at a very cheap cost, and they also have the best app in the world. It's absolutely unbelievable. The Masters app is so much better than the second best app in the world. It's unbelievable. So they cover every basis. You feel like every 100 yards there's somebody that's working for the club that's answering your questions, steering you in the right direction, making sure you're having a good time. It is by far, and it's not even really close, the best golf tournament in the world. And I think that most people feel that way, especially if you got a chance to play in one and you realize how much they take care of the players. They love it there.
Well, I mean, maybe you answered this, but is there some behind the scenes all week that most people don't talk about, publicly, that like, dang, man, they did this and that, that's so unique at the Masters than any other place, or did you already kind of name some of those things?
Well, I think that the changes this year are hard to really see, but I mean, they had a really bad tornado or straight line winds go in and just destroy hundreds of trees. One of them fell on the 15th green and they had to replace that. So I mean, there's all kinds of moving parts to the every year maintenance and keeping it up to specs for the professional golfers that are out there. But of all the things that this year you hear a lot about was how many trees they lost, the damage that was done, and how unbelievably quickly they made the adjustment, and makes it look like nothing's actually out of place unless you look like from a picture from last year and you see how many trees are actually missing in the horizon. It's pretty humbling.
Speaking of that, it's always timing with the Masters that the weather always plays some part with the course. Is that going to happen this year? And who then, if it does, helps their chances of winning because of their game?
As of right now, the only real weather came in a little earlier than they thought, and it came in early this morning. So right now the wind's blowing. I thought yesterday that the last 7 or 8 holes of the day the greens started to get really, really hard and fast, and that's mostly because of the wind and low humidity. That is also the case today, as I just left there on my way back to Nashville. And it's if the greens get as hard or harder than they did yesterday, the people that are playing in the afternoon are going to be in for a very interesting treat, and because the greens are so fast. But at the end of the day, Augusta National always forces the cream to rise to the top because the test is an extraordinary examination of greatness, and you can't get away with anything. So there's no bad champions. It's always the best player at the time, and I expect to see it again.
One more, though. What hole will be the game changer this year? Because it seems like there's always a hole that's just so tough and it kind of gets everybody but a handful of golfers. What hole will that be, do you think?
Well, I would always say in the history of the Masters, there are 3 holes that have probably always had the biggest impact, and that is hole 10, which is really the most severely sloped hole, going downhill and really down and to the left. It's really one of the most difficult second shots I've ever played in my life. And then the tee shot on 12, the par 3. There have been a lot of people that have lost their career on that hole, and truly, I think the second shot on 13. It's a par 5 that most of them are trying to make an easy birdie or maybe even steal an eagle and really change the momentum of the final round. Those 3 shots have historically been the most important swing holes on Sunday. 15 has a couple of them, but if you're asking for 3, 10, 12, and 13 will tell the story of it.
There you have it. Virgil Herring on the Verge podcast and 3-time best-selling author, Virgil Herring.
Virgil, looking at Rory McIlroy, it seems like he has all golf fans, no matter what, rooting for him because he's been a dominant force on tour, but somehow he hasn't won a major in 10 years, and he bagged 4 of them by the age of 25. So a win this week feels like it would be cathartic on several levels in an all-time green jacket moment. Talk about why Rory McIlroy is just so easy to root for.
Well, I think that he's gotten a little bit less liked because he was basically taking the stance that the PGA Tour wanted him to take on the separation of the best players going to live. And he burnt some bridges there because he started backtracking about a year later. But other than that, he's super honest. He's outrageously kind and giving. He always, I shouldn't say always because he didn't do it at the U.S. Open last year, but he's always giving the hard interviews, answered the hard questions, and he's one of the most talented players in the game. And I think that if Rory McIlroy wins, he becomes the 6th player of all time to win the career Grand Slam, which is winning all 4 majors. That would put him into the rarest club of them all. And most people think that he's the most dominant player post-Tiger Woods. And that would cement that, I would think. And it would arguably make him the most decorated player in European Tour history or a European Tour player to also hold his record, probably overtaking Seve Ballesteros at that point. That's why, and not only that, but the Masters is so important. The burden that Rory McIlroy feels to win is so overwhelming because there's so much history attached to it on both his own personal history and the game. And we'll see if he can do it. He's had multiple opportunities to win, and he's in the mix again today. Let's see what happens this weekend. I know the world is pulling for him, and he has played the best so far in 2025. But this one is the most elusive tournament for him. It would be an awesome win for a guy who's been through a lot in the last 10 years.
Who, in your opinion, is the best player never to win a major currently on the circuit that has the best chance to win a major?
I think that's Ludwig Oberg. He's one of the 3 people that I think are likely to win. Young, he's got so much confidence, but real confidence. There's no cockiness to him. He's just solid, easygoing, and has just one of the most incredible golf swings. He's also about as big as an oak tree, so big, and he swings at it smooth because he doesn't need to put any effort into it. He's going to be one of the best players for the next 15 years for sure, but I believe, without a doubt, he's the best player without a major.
What other contenders are you keeping an eye on this weekend that maybe we haven't touched on? We've touched on, of course, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler. We talked about Bryson. Who else is someone to keep an eye on?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see because I'm not sure that it's going to go too deep in that process. Just because with Justin Rose, is he still at 9, or did he drop to 8?
I think he dropped to -8 under, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So anybody that's at -2, I would probably say like right now. I know that Justin Thomas made eagle on 2, hit it to like nothing on 3, so he's 3 under through 3. There's another name that has major championship pedigree, hasn't been playing great in the last couple of years, but is one of the most popular players on the tour. I'll throw Justin Thomas's name on that one.
All right, who do you think is going to come out on top at the Masters this weekend?
I believe it's going to be Ludwig Oberg in a playoff over Scotty Scheffler.
Oh wow, that's a big bet right there, like a big exciting hot take right there. I mean, what about that matchup do you think really lends itself to being how do you think you come to that final matchup?
Well, I just believe that Scotty Scheffler is the best player, and he plays the golf course better than anybody. Oberg was in it last year for much of the tournament. He's also a talented player, and it's probably going to be one of those beginning moments of as Rory McIlroy fades out. He's still obviously the second best player in the world, but as McIlroy's career is fading out of dominance, Oberg is likely to be the most talented player to constantly be going face-to-face with Scheffler. They're both of similar build, of similar talent, and right now Scheffler's got more major championships and more of a pedigree, but not by much, and I look for that to be incredible. And I think Sunday's going to be as exciting as any Masters we've had in years.
We're on with Virgil Herring, the golf analyst for WSMV.
Well, one more question. You're talking about incredible. You just made me think of what was one of the most memorable Masters moment you can think of off the top of your head while you're driving back?
Well, I mean,
I know there was a lot.
I think that there's only 2 that really stand out. The 1986 Masters with Jack Nicklaus and the 2019 Masters with Tiger Woods. Both of them well past their prime. Both of them won when nobody thought they were going to win again. I would probably say, just because it's the most current and how much it pulled on the heartstrings of all sports fans, Tiger's win in 2019 is remarkable. And I think that when I look back over the history of golf, the most incredible victory was Tiger winning the U.S. Open by 15 shots in 2000. But the most unbelievable victory is Tiger winning the U.S. Open on a broken leg and a torn ACL.
Wow.
But the most incredible comeback, I think maybe in all of sports history, is Tiger winning the Masters in 2019. So his name is on the mantle of obviously a billion records in golf, but of all the storylines that you could ever want to lead with the history of the game, Tiger has the best story of all of them. And it's just amazing. And it's like, even if you didn't love Tiger, you were almost tearing up to see a legend come back after all that he had been through and take down all of the titans of the current time and come out victorious. It was one of the most beautiful things to watch there is in sports history.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Virgil, we appreciate you joining us today to cover the Masters and talk a little bit of golf with us. And I'm sure our listeners thoroughly enjoyed it. You got 2 podcasts, On the Verge and Elevated. Are those everywhere that podcasts can be had?
Yeah, Elevated is on everywhere but Spotify, but On the Verge is everywhere plus Spotify. Blaine's been on. It's one of my babies. It gives me the creative juices to keep on going in my media world, and I can't thank you enough for having me on.
No problem, Virgil. You have a good weekend. Enjoy the Masters.
Thank you.
Thanks. That was Virgil Herring. You can follow him on Twitter at Virgil Tourspin. Of course, you can listen to his podcasts On the Verge everywhere and Elevated everywhere but Spotify. And of course, he's also the WSMV golf analyst as well. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. And Nico has the University of Tennessee football program in kind of a lose-lose situation, wouldn't you think, Blaine? They either have to overpay him, quote, overpay, because he could always earn it, on the field, or they let him go and they have to go with Merklinger, and who's the other guy that is the backup quarterback over there, Jackson? McIntyre, that's right.
Yeah. BA.
So what do you think? I mean, that feels like this is almost a lose-lose situation.
Ooh, man, from Tennessee's perspective, I mean, if they really believe in him, this is just more about negotiations than anything else. So, if you win the negotiation battle, you win. So in their minds, I don't know where they were at. They said they were negotiating beforehand, even though I think the father, some people in the camp said that, they were happy. So I think this was the, final little straw to try to get Tennessee to try to get them to sign what they were offering. And I don't know if that will happen, but I would assume that it will.
So you think they're going to end up paying him?
Yeah, I think so.
Jackson, now, if they end up paying him, Matt Miller, who is a Georgia fan who works also at the station.
Matt Murphy,
he also works today. He said that he thinks that Nico will get booed if they pay him all this money after this little pout fest is what I think
I wouldn't be surprised if he throws it incomplete pass or interception
on the first play after he gets paid all this money. You say all will be forgiven once he's paid.
Yeah, because it's a long time from now. If the game was next week, I would say probably. But when we go through the summer and the spring and all the hype starts to come out about how good Nico looks in fall camp, they're not going to boo him. I think that's just kind of ridiculous.
Well, you guys are known for being a very rational fan base.
That Syracuse game is becoming a big one if Nico stays for him.
Man, I wish Kyle McCord and would be at Syracuse this year for that game, which would be fun to watch. I guess I would probably pay because you don't really know what you got behind Nico. But, man, that would be a tough pill to swallow. What you got, Jackson?
I just think if you don't pay him, you risk losing other players that are very valuable to the program.
But don't you think that if you do pay him, those very valuable players to the program will also be coming and knocking on the door and asking for more pay?
Eventually, but that's a future Vols problem, not a current Vols problem. You kind of got to just do what's right for now in college football because you can't predict what's going to happen in the next 6 months. You have to get through this spring transfer portal window to be able to build your team for the fall.
I mean, what's your opinion of Nico right now? Knowing everything that you know, at least on the surface, do you want him to get paid? Or do you just think that because there's nothing better, you have to pay him?
Well, let's first, where is he at in the SEC? Where would you rank him in the SEC? What does his numbers say, let alone what was his actual play? And we got to look at the competition out there. I know Nussmeyer's for LSU. Before you start, this is business. This is how they're going to start making this decision.
Arch Manning, John Mateer.
Right, and Nussmeyer.
Lenore Sellers, DJ Lagway.
Right, so where would you rank him? Where does his stats put him? I mean, give us something because you got to be able to, let's act as though you're Tennessee and you're negotiating for this contract.
Yeah, in terms of statistically, he was the 8th best quarterback in the SEC last season.
And how many of those guys are returning?
Not many. I think it's just Garrett Nussmeier. Is Taylon Green still at Arkansas, correct?
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Of course, then you have
Who?
Jackson Arnold, who went to Auburn, who left Oklahoma to be Auburn.
But he didn't have the stats to beat him, right? Because he got benched.
Marcel Reed,
so
Texas
he's basically
A&M.
like third.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of returning guys to the SEC, he's like third.
Right.
But where's he at in the SEC? Because would you say, you said 8th best quarterback in terms of the stats, but probably the 6th best quarterback in the SEC? I mean, where would you put Diego Pavia in that? I guess that would be my deciding factor. Maybe Diego is 6th and Nico is 5th, but I mean, where do you think that is? And of course, that does not including. I forget that John Mateer, who transferred in from Washington State into Oklahoma, that's a guy that his all-around playmaking ability is going to be a huge asset for Oklahoma. So, like, I don't know. Is he the sixth best quarterback in the SEC? And do you pay him like he is the best quarterback?
Well, I wouldn't pay him like he's the best, but I think he's around third.
Yeah,
Based off all the people who are coming back, third or fourth. I mean, we saw him go head-to-head versus Diego, so that wasn't a match. We saw him blow Vanderbilt out. So
you would have him. We got Arch Manning, Garrett Nussmeier, Lenore Sellers. I would put as 1, 2, and 3.
Right, that's why I said third or fourth.
Third or fourth. So you put him right after that. So DJ Lagway's probably all projection, I guess, for you at this point.
Potential.
John Mateer, we don't know. We know what he was at Washington State, but don't know what he is here. So based on what you saw last year, Nico's fourth.
And then you got to think about also, what other players are getting that aren't better than him that are not in the conference. See, and that's where I think this problem lies, and that's why I don't like this. You can re-up. If not, then you got to understand every year you may have a different quarterback.
What's to stop him from asking for money next year?
Right. And to me, that's why I said you have.
I mean, I know that he may
you got to put it. You got to put it in his contract.
Yeah, can you? I mean, that's the thing.
He can do whatever he wants as a contract.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what all the rules are and everything. Well, what if he doesn't want to sign that?
Well, he already went 3 years. Yeah, if you don't want to go, then bye. I mean, at some point, the rubber's going to meet the road, and you got to stick to something. And, he can't get everything he wants. And it's just, And so the issue is they hyped him up, and all schools are doing the same thing for the high-level 5-star guys. And so then that also attracted some of the other players to Jackson Point. And then when they see him leave, they go, uh-oh. All of a sudden, this is why I really came here.
Yeah.
So, and then he hasn't he really hasn't lived up to the billing. Let's just be honest. He has been average to that. And I'm hoping I can see more. And this year, he's going to have new weapons all over the place. Offensive line, new receivers. The running backs are solid. Even the guys coming back, they look like they're going to be pretty good. But man, it's going to be on his shoulders. And getting this new contract, if he gets it.
Yeah.
I think they're going to boo him. I think so. If he doesn't play well,
I wouldn't put it past the Tennessee fans.
I think they will. I think they will, especially in a significant game. And he throws.
I'm not saying he warrants a boo. By the way,
right.
We're just saying that's how low we think of Tennessee fans.
Yeah. Watch this. They booed McNair. They booed McNair right over in the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first game,
to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
In the first game.
Yeah. See that? See, but you can't let it affect you. So I don't know if he's built like that.
So 4 out of 5 new starters on the offensive line.
See?
You're bringing back your whole receiving core pretty much is different with Dante Thornton, Brew McCoy, and Squirrel White all gone.
His shoulders are getting wider.
Dylan Sampson's gone. You brought back your tight ends. Most of your tight ends, you added another one. So it's going to be a different offense, but you need the quarterback there because a lot of the talk, if you remember around New Year's Day, Mike Matthews entered the portal. A lot of that was due. He thought Nico might enter the portal, so he went into the portal, and then they were able. That was the talk at that time. So if Nico does end up going actually into the portal, that's where I'm coming from with all of this.
Yeah,
you could see a mass exodus in the spring for Tennessee, which is something they can't afford, especially when they already have so many new pieces on offense. You can't lose those new pieces.
Yeah, and then he's going to have to play well. It's really on him now. I mean, I mean, I know the 2 running backs they got coming back. I kind of like what I see out of them, especially the Bishop kid. But
when we come back, we'll get to John, who wants to talk about Nico at 615-737-1045. You want to get in on the conversation. We'll also be previewing the running backs in this draft class because Titans are going to draft one. I'm pretty convinced. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
for many of you who have lived here a long time, you already know Eurofix has been in Middle Tennessee area for your European car repair needs now for 26 years. We've all gotten to watch them grow. And I don't know about you, but I love watching a hometown business take off. Well, we are now proud to announce the 5th location in Mount Juliet for Eurofix on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from Dairy Queen. And Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, Hunted Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now Mount Juliet. Pretty cool getting to watch a small town mechanic, starting in the barn of his backyard of a single wide trailer and now grow to 5 locations, repairing thousands of cars each month. And at Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty and a free loaner car with every repair appointment. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can visit them online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com. But I was telling Blaze, did you?
It is 2:01. Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Jackson Williams. Tennessee football in the news today as after reports of contract negotiations surfaced yesterday. Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava was not at Tennessee practice this morning ahead of the orange and white game tomorrow, according to Pete Thamel. In NFL news, the Browns have reached agreement with veteran quarterback Joe Flacco on a one-year, $4 million deal worth up to $13 million in incentives. Flacco played for the Browns in the 2023 season, where he was named the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. The Texans have agreed to terms on a new deal for safety Jalen Petrie, as he gets a 3-year deal worth roughly $39 million. The 2022 second-round pick had 44 tackles with 1 interception in 2024. For our foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.org.com. Breaking news at once on your own for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hour 2 of Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all 4 Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. We're monitoring the hostage situation that is going on in Knoxville right now. We'll keep you guys updated when more news comes out. First, we'll go to John, who wants to talk about Nico. John, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Blaine, I want to challenge you to think right here when we talk about the top 6 quarterbacks in the SEC, okay? We're going to talk about Nico, I'm going to overthrow you, okay? Here's his stats. We have 19 touchdowns, okay? 11 of those touchdowns came against Chattanooga, UTEP, and Vanderbilt, meaning that he threw 7 touchdowns in the SEC, and 4 of them came against Vanderbilt. So when we start talking about negotiations and contracts, when we let's look at the Titans. If Will Levis throws 4 touchdowns in the AFC South, are we going to extend him for $4 million? And we already know the answer. The answer is no, we're moving on from him. Why? At what point? Okay, here's my follow-up question. At what point do these SEC coaches start saying, look, I made Joe Milton into an NFL prospect. He's now an NFL – now he may be a backup, but in my system, Josh Heupel, I've made Joe Milton. At what point does these SEC coaches come in and say, you know what, Nico, I made you as a freshman. I made this hype about you. If you feel like you can get a better NIL deal, let's go test the markets, and I'll make McIntyre, I'll make whoever else, I'll make them into the next $2 million guy. I don't understand I don't know. Looking at the accuracy, Samson took a lot of the load last year. I don't think that looking at the context of Nico as a quarterback that we can say that he's better than half the SEC if he's thrown 5 touchdowns in the SEC in total. And again, 4 of them was against Vanderbilt. Guys, I appreciate y'all. I listen every day. I felt compelled to give the stats on 19 touchdowns, and we're beating Chattanooga, UTEP, and Vanderbilt in those and giving that guy $4 million.
Man,
thanks, guys.
Great stats.
Collar was cooking.
I did not know those stats. Jackson,
You got your face. Man, it's starting to look like a Shar-Pei because
I need to put a pie on my face.
Much.
I was like, where is he ranked? I mean, man, dang. He only do basically 3 touchdowns against SEC opponents. Is that right?
I think it was like 6 or something like that. If I did the math right, I think the math was wrong because he counted Vanderbilt twice. So somewhere the math was wrong.
But that
still didn't sound. Just the whole picture of that did not sound good, right?
I mean, let me say this: the chat is on the caller's side. The F&M Bank channel, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. They agree. That could be call of the week.
You got to go. Yeah, we will let you go. Take your time with that. And man, that is a great question. Wow, man, if those numbers look, I hope that is not true. You think it's true?
I think it's probably pretty close to true when you really think about it. I mean, think about all the games that we watched last year, and we kept. Think about the narrative on this particular show.
Yeah, we kept.
When is Nico going to take the next step? Is this the week that Nico takes the step? Is this the week that we see Nico be the guy that he got paid to be?
I know.
And listen, I understand the market and all that stuff because he got paid last year, or I guess when he initially got paid 2 years ago, he got some money and the market has shifted. Yes. But that is the thing that we're at right now is like.
So that's like being an average quarterback, but you get a pay raise because other average quarterbacks got a pay raise.
Right. And then maybe these other quarterbacks are also better than Nico. I mean, like that can be a possibility, but I think the RK Dub this morning had a good comparison. They compared it to Dan Moore, right? Okay. I mean, it's just all about timing. Dan Moore, the tackle of the Tennessee Titans, he got paid all that money, but it's just all about timing when you enter the market, except for he's creating his own timing, right? He is trying to force a time. And that's the little bit of the difference I see, but I do think it's a good point is that, hey, all these other quarterbacks got paid. You all need to pay me if you want me to stick around for your program. Whether that's right or wrong, that's how NIL set up. And, hey, listen, if he can get that money elsewhere, he should take that money elsewhere, especially if the Tennessee Volunteers are going to sit here and say that, hey, we're not budging.
Man, that means you got to have a backup plan for almost every superstar or great player or starter on your team. You got to be developing the guys on the bench. That's why I said, maybe not quarterback, but I would be rotating those wide receivers, the cornerback, all those guys on the skill, maybe not the lineman, but you can do it on D-line, because you got to be ready for all this movement. Like, if you don't, it's tough now. I mean, we were just talking to Jackson. He says that, Nico did all the 1 rep. So I'm like, well, whoever the backup was, they did all the 2s reps then. Well, okay.
We got a little bit of
breaking news?
Not really breaking news, but a little bit more information has popped up about the Nico situation.
Give it to us.
Chris Lowe says, one thing to add here is that Josh Heupel and Nico have a very healthy relationship. Mm-hmm. But this is not the first time Nico's reps have talked to other schools over the last few months. Also, the SEC doesn't allow transfers within the conference during the spring portal, which we already covered. So, I mean, this has been simmering for a while. Nico's reps are talking to other schools and all this other kind of stuff for a few months.
Man, I wish you would have had this in the pros.
I know. I bet you do. Let's go to Zach, who wants to talk about Nico. Zach, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
They're just doing their job.
Hey, fellas, thanks for taking my call. This might be a hot take, but I'm just going to go ahead and say it as a lifetime Vol fan, Vol for life. Let him go. $4 million game manager, let him go. That's how I feel right now. That might be a hot take. Hey, man, we got guys next up. McIntyre, local Middle Tennessee guy. I think he's going to be some here in a little bit. I just wanted to say a comment because I know a lot of other people are starting to feel this way. Be honest with you guys, this is the first year I'm looking forward to NFL more than college. I've always been a college guy first. Feel like I'm, at least with pro, we don't have all this business, I know they deserve to get paid and whatnot, but man, I'm looking forward to pro more than college, and this is the first year, fellas. Just wanted to say that because I know a lot of other people are.
Thanks, Zach. Yeah. There's a lot of people I've seen in replies on Twitter to this story in the chat, the F&M Bank chat, talking about how they are not liking this new version of college football. And there are a lot of people who I've talked to, a lot of friends who were like, we're all gung-ho for players getting paid. But the Wild Wild West is really making this a different situation than what everybody had envisioned initially.
Yeah, well, this is exactly what I thought would happen, and it was going to turn into pros even more so because you have more freedom than pro sports. And then just imagine this now. Here's what happens. Oh, hey, I got paid. How much you get paid? Then the left tackle comes in and say, oh, I got paid more than our starting quarterback. Uh-oh. Yeah, see, and now we're dealing with 18, 19, 20, and 21. And then you have the agencies or agents or whoever is running their, NIL deals, running around trying to get them more money, whether it's with the school or another school. See, so now what they have actually done is pit the players on the same team against one another. And they are not ready mentally to handle that kind of stuff because everybody's going to got their hand out. See, everybody's going to have their hand out. That's a superstar player on their team.
I'm actually very surprised by the response from the chat and how many really volunteer fans I've seen. Now, listen, this could be a vocal minority, right? It's our chat. It's Twitter. That sometimes does not represent the majority thinking of the fan base.
And I loved college football before, more so than NFL. Because of that reason, they weren't getting paid. They were still playing for the passion and the love of the game.
It's just interesting to me how many people that are volunteer fans are like, let him walk.
Yeah, because he didn't produce.
And I find it very interesting. Jackson, I want to ask you something here. I think
Jackson's turning red.
He hates this conversation.
I like your new pick.
He took all the quarterback one reps up until in every practice this week up until Friday. What does that mean to you from a fan to see him quit on the very last day when those opportunities could have gone somewhere else?
He didn't quit. Let's not do that, Zach.
Now you get to see how I feel.
He didn't quit. He just didn't show up. He disappeared.
It's just we're going into an era where this is going to play out like NFL contract negotiations.
Yeah.
Did name insert superstar player here quit when they held out of training camp? That's what this ultimately is. It's not quitting on the team. Although now that the with holdouts or hold-ins or whatever you want to call them, a lot of times you aren't worried about that player leaving because obviously the Le'Veon Bell situation played out the way it did and all the different things there. There is a different aspect to these to where players can leave.
Yeah.
And so it's a little frustrating that these other players didn't get the one other players didn't get opportunities if he was going to do this hold in situation. Although they will tomorrow if he's not there, or he could be back tomorrow.
Do you expect him to be there?
Yeah, I expect him to be there with dress clothes. Regular clothes on.
Okay. Well, I mean, like, do you expect him to be dressed out? You say just regular clothes.
No, I don't.
You think he'll be in the stands or something, maybe in a press
I think
box?
he'll be on the sideline.
He'll be on the sideline? What about you, Jackson?
I was guessing.
I think he plays.
You think he plays?
I'm going for it. I think he plays.
Is this hope?
Yes.
Okay.
It's pure copium.
Pure hope.
Pure copium back here.
I really do. I really do. For the ball fans' sake, I do, man.
Pure copium back here, and I think I'm calling it right now. He plays tomorrow.
Does he get booed if he plays tomorrow?
Oh no, we'll have
That's
to.
the thing.
We'll have
Like,
to
does he?
ask,
I mean, you said that. You said earlier in the show. Yeah, earlier in the show, you said that if the game was played like in a couple of weeks, well, if he plays in tomorr's game, like you are hoping he does.
That's why I said he's not playing.
Yeah. But if you're on the sideline, don't you think you get booed too? I mean, I kind of think that if he's not going to play, he may not show up.
He maybe could hide himself. He could put on a hoodie.
He's a big, tall guy. I don't know if he can hide very well.
Maybe this is all just a coincidence, and he just had a tummy ache today.
Oh, maybe that's it. He has a tummy ache.
He fell on a helmet.
Yeah. When we come back, we'll get to Robert on the phones. 615-737-1045. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
We've got...
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Cover 2 with Blade Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. I don't know how long that break was.
Oh, man,
but it went by really quick to us because the whole time Jackson is on a rant.
Oh, man.
He is just ranting.
He was
like
representing
crazy.
the Vol fan base.
Yeah, I mean, woo.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know.
I think we should have a segment of a rant.
I would be fired so quickly.
Oh, my gosh.
They would have to let me go.
You guys are in a tough pickle here, man.
He had very unkind words. So Nico quit on the team playing.
No, we're not doing this. He didn't quit on the team. If this was a playoff practice or a regular season practice, SEC practice, this is simply a hold-in. This is professional sports now.
Who would have thought we would have said hold in for college athletics this year?
Nobody did, but here we are. Like, it's not quitting on the team. It's not.
Okay, what did Cam Ward do when he stopped halfway? He only played a half in the bowl game that didn't matter. Was that quitting?
No.
Okay, I was just making sure.
That's why Shedeur Sanders quarterback won, because he has no controversy like that. He never quit on his team at spring practice, and he never quit on his team in a bowl game.
Shedeur Sanders famously not in the news.
Hey, did you see what Louis Riddick said today in a tweet?
I did not see.
Speaking of that, and I know we're kind of like going off the rails on the show.
We blame it on Jackson, man.
But let me. Louis Riddick this morning just put out a tweet. It wasn't on a show or anything.
Oh, I didn't see it.
And he says this: timing, relationships, development, utilization, they aren't created equal from team to team. All of this plays the biggest part in player success, particularly quarterback. Mm-hmm. Where you go matters more than when you go. Mm-hmm. If I was Dion, I would tell him to please stop tweeting because that is obviously a Shadur Sanders tweet. I mean, like, what is going on with Liz Riddick?
We want to go lower so we go to a better team.
I mean, my God.
This is what happens when you become a national guy. You become somewhat a puppet. I'm sorry, man. Where's your ethics, man? This guy, I like to go back and look over his predictions, like where Big Lou is on, his predictions, because I don't know, maybe that's why he's not a GM again.
The chat, the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. Joe Blacko says that he's with Jay Wills, talking about Jackson. Vidal Harris says Jackson is minimizing this whole situation. So,
Jackson, tell us the actual stats, though. He did have, that was you.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns against SEC teams, 9 passing touchdowns. I went through and counted.
It wasn't, like the forward.
But he got blanked in 3 of them. 4 of them was from Vanderbilt, so 5 in all the other SEC games besides
5.
Vanderbilt.
Okay, 5, and he blanked against Georgia.
Didn't play the second half of the Mississippi State game. Ooh. I believe he had 2 in the first half of that game.
Yeah. So there you go.
Oh, man. Well, if not quite as bad as the caller, but it's still just okay.
Yeah.
Barely.
So let me ask you this. From the player's perspective, Nico not being there on Friday, possibly maybe not even being there at the game, we don't know. But what message does that send to the teammates from the player perspective? Anything in today's NIL? Because it's kind of like hold-ins, holdouts. Did you guys with the Tennessee Titans ever really care if a player held in or held out to get more money?
No, because, this is all business. So, no, you didn't. I just don't know if, the teammates, it's a little different when you're younger, So it's become individualized. It's about me, me. And that's what the environment they're setting up here for these players, and more power to them. Hopefully they all get paid, man. So it sends out a bad message just in general. Not for him just missing, but if he gets paid, now other players are going to, not just at Tennessee, other players on other schools and universities are going to start kind of going down this road.
How soon are we going to be getting to double-digit contracts, like per year contracts?
Man.
I mean, can schools even afford that? I mean, because then you're going to have other players who that are lower ranks ask for more. Like it just seems like it needs a cap of some sort.
They need to have an actual salary cap.
Maybe it is a salary cap, or maybe it's just a contract cap by position or something like that. But
this is.
I mean, this is. It's kind of exciting. It's weird.
It's weird to me.
But it's very exciting because I'm like, I have no clue how this is going to end, right? Like, nobody knows if someone's going to step in and try to change and put regulations on it. And if there's never regulations on it, then how crazy and wild is it going to get? So, it's just going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting when it starts hitting Alabama.
That'll be interesting.
When it starts hitting, it's never going to hit Ball State. I mean, man, it's going to.
Because if Nico gets 4.4 then per year, it's a $4 million per year. Okay, so I think that's reportedly what he wants. If he gets that, then the next guy is going to want $5 million per year, and just pretty soon it's going to get to double digits, even without. It's because someone here said only a Heisman winner could demand a double-digit contract. Well, maybe not, maybe now, but later on down the road, we see how markets work in the NFL. Everybody's just going to keep getting paid more. Eric Reed also had something else in the chat.
Good point. Wow.
He says, the Volunteers ain't a title contender with him, but your season will probably be better with him than without.
Mm-hmm. And that's where they're at.
So hopefully
That's why they got to pay.
So, I mean, Jackson, you hear that. I know that the Tennessee Volunteers made it to the college football playoffs. So do you think that's being a little underselling of what this Volunteers team could be? Because as he says right here, they're not a title contender, but your season's going to be better with them than without them.
If you make the playoffs in college football, you're a title contender. You're one of the top 12 teams in the nation. I think that's null and void.
Blaine, what do you think? You're laughing. You're laughing at Jackson.
Oh, man. It's not just that simple to me. It's about, the weapons around them. You got to get adjustments for almost a whole new offensive line. So those are the concerns, and how quickly can they get up to speed with young receivers, new starting lineman. Man, that's a lot there, man. We just watched it with the Titans, so there's no different for an SEC caliber team as well. So see how quickly they get up to speed. But at worst case scenario, you go, we'll win 8 games with Nico. At worst case scenario, we'll get maybe into the playoffs again. The goal is always to get into playoffs. So they're going to believe that they can, but it's going to take a lot. And that's why I said the shoulder burden of Nico staying and him getting paid, it's going to now be all on him. It really is. And I just don't know if he can handle it and step up, because they were always trying to protect him, saying it wasn't his fault, it was the receivers, the offensive line. No, it was him. Sorry. He was part of the process.
So let me ask you this. I'll ask you both this before we get to the phone. 615-737.
Observing them as pros now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they are. I mean, that's what we said, right?
Yeah.
We said, hey, listen, when's he going to be the guy that, they paid him to be? When's he going to turn into that guy? And it never really showed up this year.
A la Rick Barnes.
Yeah. So let me ask you Let me ask you guys this. Do you guys think that we'll look back at that Ohio State game as the breaking of the Tennessee program? It seems like they really broke University of Tennessee. And, I mean, just look at everything that has happened since that loss. I mean, a microphone got turned off by the Jacks behind the glass.
Oops, my finger slipped.
I think that's too soon to say.
Yeah.
Looking back, you got to see a season, or at least a half of a season, to say that. But ultimately, it's always about recruiting. I mean, to me, it was a wake-up call that we need better players.
How important are spring games? I mean, to you guys. I mean, is it an important thing that he plays tomorrow?
No.
For anything? No. I mean, as long as he gets paid, right? I mean, or at least he plays for Tennessee.
They want him to play at least a little bit, probably just for the fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, they come to see him. I mean, but I'm going to say, as a former athlete, I hated spring ball. I hated spring games. Yeah, so I was trying to get in, get out, because the players are thinking not to get injured. And it's really for the development of the backups.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cut-22, because you can't go out there, doing it halfway, and then you're actually then will get injured. So, yeah, I never was a fan of it.
Oh, Jackson, from the fan perspective, if Nico does not show up at all tomorrow, like, what's your level of concern first if he doesn't show up at all on the sidelines? Level of concern.
I think it's still around a 5 or 6, because I still believe that they are ultimately going to pay him. So
okay, I do too.
I ultimately believe, like, this is all just kind of, it's going to be a little touch and go for a while, but I ultimately think, like, I don't expect Nico to leave Tennessee.
Okay.
It could happen, and I could be wrong.
Rob, just real quick, off the cuff, I have not checked, and neither have y'all. Who's in the portal that's a quarterback?
Ooh.
That is worthy of saying, well, we can get average production then and get paid less.
Well, maybe that's what they find out at the spring game tomorrow. He doesn't play. Maybe they look at the other 2 quarterbacks and say, hey,
we just go get another one of these.
Or we could just ride with these 2 guys.
They do have a 4-star Jake Merklinger, and George McIntyre was a 4 or 5-star, depending on what site you were looking at.
And then you guys got someone coming in next year, right?
The number 1 recruit, Faison Brandon.
So maybe they don't need Nico. Maybe they're looking at their board and saying, hey, we got the guys we need. All right, let's go to Anthony, who wants to talk about Nico. Anthony, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Curious, why do we have to do the multi-year deals? Can they not just do like a 1-year deal with incentives to try to get him to where he wants, and have it like a performance, kind of like how you play like they do in the NFL? You get like a $2 million, and then with incentives you can get up to however, as long as you're performing, kind of pay for your own success sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, thanks for the call. Maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe that's the change that happens. They start doing incentives, and maybe they're like, okay, well, we're going to keep you at your 2.2 million or 2.4 million, Nico, but here's some incentives that if you reach this, we'll give you a bump in pay. You reach this, we'll give you a bump in pay. Maybe that is the way to bridge the gap between what Nico wants and what you're willing to pay based on the performance.
Meanwhile, some Yahoo on another school is getting paid but without incentives, but making more than you. You go, Now, come on, man. He not me. What's the Duke quarterback? He's the guy, right? He's the guy that they pay, what, $3-4 million or whatever he's making? Yeah. And that's where the issue began. Like, oh, man, hold on. I know that's one of them, but that's what's it. You're going to get into this every year then because the money's going to keep going up.
Joe Blacko says it should be a new contract every season. Doesn't that, to me, that feels like then you're really going to see some escalations in price. I don't know if you could do that.
I don't want to do that.
Vandy Chris says, I've been told he is already gone. Jackson needs to ask himself, what now? So what now? He's already gone, apparently, to Vandy Chris.
I'm sure Vandy Chris does not have any ill intentions in his heart. Much like you, my friend.
Hey, man. What to do with this college athletics paying these guys, man.
Man, you just got players quitting on the Volunteers, all this kind of stuff. They don't even want to go to spring game.
What's the guy's name? Malik Murphy?
Yeah, Malik Murphy. Duke.
Duke quarterback. I think he's got a $3 million contract or something.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Richard on the phones. Richard, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Watch the film. He looked at it.
On my Thunder, if Nico needs more money to stay, he's probably not going to get it. Most people in Tennessee don't have the spring game circled as something we're looking forward to. I grew up going to games with my dad with his season tickets, and we never went to the spring game. We always just circled Florida and Alabama to see if we could get them. As long as we stay out ahead of them, that's what we look forward to every year.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
And Carson Beck with the $4 million.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Really, Carson Beck probably screwed it up for the University of Tennessee, but, Carson Beck has performed better.
What? I don't
think he's great. No. Yeah, I would say
a little bit. Because he picked it up at the end, right?
Yeah, he started turning it on before the injury.
Oh, my. Look up the stats there, Jackson, man. Oh, Carson Beck.
Beck was ranked ahead of him. I saw that earlier. Yeah. But I also think the way the offense was ran last year, the stats weren't there because they protected a young quarterback in his first year starting in college. And they had a elite top 5 running back in the country.
Which should have made it easier for the quarterback.
Yeah, what do you think about that statement? It feels to me like
excuses.
That's what I was about to say. This feels like a lot of excuses.
That's what they were doing.
I've heard all season long from callers, from the chat, from other shows that, well, maybe it's Josh Heupel's system, or maybe it's this, maybe it's that. That all sounds a little bit like excuses to me.
Remember, he got the one was, when he runs and gets hit, then he plays better.
Yeah.
Huh?
My thing is like, you can't say anything about me being a Bama fan because I trashed my quarterback.
Well, you did, Melrose.
I knew my quarterback was an issue.
Speaking of that, would you recommend him go to the draft?
No.
Oh my!
He's getting terrible advice. I when that got announced, I put the Will Levis meme of him sitting at the draft because that's what he's going to be. He's going to be Will Levis.
Maybe they know something we don't know. I don't know.
I don't know,
man. I don't think the NFL wants any of that.
Yeah, let's go to Dylan who wants to talk about the Volunteers. Dylan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was you guys or on the chat, but talking about after somebody wins the Heisman, what they're going to get for money the following year.
Oh, yeah.
Not to say that it doesn't ever happen, but that very, very rarely. I mean, if you get that, Travis Hunter is not thinking about, if I go back to Colorado, I could probably get $10 million next year in NIL.
I mean, maybe. I mean, it's. Yeah, I think we're just in a situation where we really don't know
because we haven't seen
what's going to happen. But eventually, double-digit per year contracts are going to come. It's just no stopping
double-digit million.
Yeah, double-digit millions. 10 million. It's eventually going to happen for some, and it's going to happen for some 5-star recruit that hasn't played a lick of downs, and then once that happens, that's when people are going to be like, oh, we need regulations on this because we got screwed by paying this kid that much money.
What do you think they're playing David Sanders, the tackle? Right, he's playing right tackle this year, right?
I don't want to speculate on that because I have no idea.
I want you to speculate. What would you speculate he's making? He's making more than Nico. I think that's another issue. See? That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case because it's a deal that was signed or agreed to or whatever 3 years ago into a deal that was signed in, I want to say, or agreed to in late last year. So, like, yeah, like, obviously there's going to be, and, that could be a part of this. I think there's a lot of moving parts to this that we just have no idea about because none of it's public because it's all with third parties.
Right.
So, Blaine, I do want to hear from your perspective. If college players are getting paid $10 million, if this ever does happen with some particular recruit, does this go back to the Players Association with the NFL's rookie contracts being in the $4 to $5 million a year range?
That's a good question.
Does the NFLPA take notice of this, and this leaks over into some drama on the NFL side?
Ooh, that would be really interesting. I don't think the NFL will ever cave to other leagues dictating what they do. I just don't think they'll do it.
Yeah, but I think what he's saying is...
No, I know exactly what he's saying. It's because they're paying, they're making more. The NFL be like, we live by a salary cap.
What about the NFLPA? They'll start making a big stink, though, right? But, I mean, they're pretty
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this. Right, that's exactly what I'm going to say.
They're not very good at negotiations.
Like, man, they keep talking about, man, the PA, they got no clout over there. They might as well just bow down and say, okay, do what you want to do. Remember, it's all about protecting the players. Well, we went to 18, didn't we? And we're going to 20. I've been saying it. We're going to go to 20. That's no way, because guess what? More games, more money, more TV money. It's going to happen. Hopefully, then the players say, well, we'll give you a little bit more. Then the guy's going to be like, yeah, hooray. What happened to, nobody's going to be talking about where's the health of the players.
Yeah, that's that. Hey, I'm with you on that. Let's go to Chris, who wants to talk about Nico. Chris, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys, I just wanted to chime in on this. I want to know who at Tennessee leaked the story to Peter Nakos, and the real discussion here needs to be about Nico's people on Twitter and social media yesterday attacking the reporter who broke the story. To me, this is the look of a cancer in the locker room, because if you think about it, ever since he's gotten on campus at Tennessee, it's been chatter about wanting more money, about hitting the portal, this and that and this and that. You remember when he first got to Tennessee, he had to do the push-ups because he disrespected the locker room. The conversation needs to be about Nico and the possibility of him being a cancer in the locker room, because this is not a good look for him or his camp. And I'll hang up and listen while you guys chat about it.
Thanks, Chris. That call gave me life. So we got Nico's a quitter and a cancer in the locker room is what where I'm at. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
He's a cancer.
This is my first true University of Tennessee meltdown, and I'm just loving it.
Let's go back to the disrespecting the locker room thing.
That was somebody else.
What you're thinking of is the Jeremy Banks situation right before the South Carolina. That was years ago. So, but there is the reason that was disrespecting the locker room or taken that by the rest of the locker room is because he didn't do the push-ups when you accidentally step on the tee.
Oh, I got you.
This was more of a freshman moment for Nico where he accidentally stepped on the tee and then he did his push-ups and another teammate filmed it on his phone, and it was just kind of like funny. That's nothing. Also, the only reports of him asking for more money have been in the last 4 months. He's been on campus for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
So he did do the push-ups.
He did do the push-ups. This was not a Jeremy Banks situation where he disrespected the locker room. No, he accidentally stepped on the tee, made a freshman mistake, and then he did the punishment.
I heard the players had to hold him down to get him to do the push-ups because he's just such a cancer in the locker room.
That is reckless speculation and misinformation.
So, Jackson, do you want to respond to Chris's phone call about Nico being a cancer in the locker room?
I think I just did. I mean, he hasn't been asking for more money the whole time he's been on campus. He's been on campus for 2 years, and this has only come up since late December, around Christmas time. It's April. So this has been 4 months. It's been a tough 4 months, but this is the world of college football, and, I'm really not stressing that much over it. I don't think he's a cancer in the locker room for trying to renegotiate.
Well, here's the question I wish that's what I'm asking about the quarterback room. Why didn't we have a viable candidate and not get paid, but that could push him to say, okay, if he does walk, have a backup plan because they know these guys can leave at any moment?
Well, they just got a couple Mason Rudolphs in there.
But no, they just did that. I'm talking about a guy who has been on the roster, who's been there for a couple years, not a walk-on. I'm talking about a guy that was, a scholarship player that was getting some form of money, even though he was a backup, couple $100,000 or something. I don't know. But like, to me, that's what I'm saying. That's where we're going here. You have to have plans in place already. And they saw the signs already. And then he wasn't living up to the billing. They could say what they wanted to say about him. He was one of the number one recruits. And now it's all that's going to be on him. That's why he's trying to get the money too. It's not just about he's seeing what's out there. Hey man, if we go down this road and we got all these young players, he's been practicing. He didn't seen it.
All right, when we come back, I do want to get to Chris's other point about the whole process that's led us to this point, talking about this. And I love it. I can't help but smiling, talking about this and thinking about your quarterback leaving you in the dust. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Struggling with joint pain, suffering from recent injury, looking to recover faster after surgery? Well, at Edge, we've got you covered. From powerful peptide stacks like BPC 157 and TB 500 to PRP treatments, stem cell therapy, and high film muscle stimulation, Edge Peptide is your go-to solution for faster healing and recovery. And as an athlete myself, I know how frustrating pain and injuries can be. That's why now is the perfect time to take control of your wellness and finally address those nagging issues. Whether it's golf, tennis, or any activity you love, don't let pain hold you back any longer. Edge specializes in regenerative treatments designed to reduce inflammation, promote tissue repair, and improve mobility, helping your body heal naturally while avoiding surgery whenever possible. And right now, we're offering a free $250 consultation with your initial treatment. And all you have to do is just go to edgepeptide.com. Yes, that's edgepeptide.com. Or you can just give them a call today at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyon. Here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Door, 615-737-1045. We've decided that if Nico goes to a school like Oregon or something.
Somewhere on the West Coast.
Yeah, somewhere on the West Coast. We'll be sure to give you every Monday after College Football Saturday a weekly Nico update of the stats that he's doing in his Heisman odds.
Yeah, and it'll be sponsored by Jackson Williams crying every day.
His tears fuel us.
You got anything to say?
No, I'm good.
He's going to have a heart attack by the end of the day today.
Oh man, he's got Tennessee by the. You know what, man? You got to have a backup plan, man. Golly, I'd be so pissed right now if I'm the head coach.
Taylor H on the F&M Bank chat, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live says the Volunteers have been so proud to be at the forefront of NIL so far. They get to be at the forefront of this as well, hoisted by their own petard.
Yeah, you think this isn't going to happen in Alabama? You think this is not going to happen?
I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Alabama's got pretty poor NIL funding.
I know, because
it's not very good.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was like, "That didn't
you think that Mr. Mercedes dealerships would be funneling some money in there?" But I guess Nick Saban is
some free bids.
All right, let me ask you this, Blaine. Do you think the University of Tennessee kind of screwed this up since this has been going on for a while, since the winter transfer portal? Do you think that the University of Tennessee side kind of played too much of a hardball situation and let this fester for, 4 months now?
Well, they tried to play the waiting game, which you do in negotiations. I'm assuming this was, since December or so when they were probably, talking. So... And they could wear them down, and then they probably got to a point where, somebody then decided, hey, let's leak it, and that'll get us over the top. And I don't know, that might backfire on them. I mean, man, I don't know, man. I think the way that his dad responded on that tweet, on X.
Well, what do you think about that in particular?
First of all, he cannot be responding, but he did, and he did. Boy, you didn't, man. When you piss off those swans, man, you better.
I mean, they went attacking the reporters integrity of his job integrity, not necessarely personal.
He was pretty upset, and then all of a sudden he doesn't show up, and then now you didn't piss him off. They may just leave and not even, maybe even take less than what Tennessee was ever offering. I have no idea, but that's a slippery slope there, man. I would have never used that tactic. Sitting in that chair where you don't have a proven player that's played a lot behind him. Now, if I did, then I would be like, okay, we can play all right. This guy he's going to improve, and we can play with him.
This is also why I kind of feel like last night, his family friend and his dad attack this guy, then he doesn't show up. Like, that's not really smart advice being given to somebody by someone's agent or public relations or whatever they have on staff, for them to go out and say all that, bash this story, bash the reporter, and then come over and then not show up. Whose smart idea was that? But then, listen, if you're mad that Tennessee obviously is the one that leaked the story, people inside the Tennessee program, it's not Nico's camp that leaked the story. If you're mad about that, then that's fine, but don't go in and try to say that it's false and then turn around and kind of prove that it's true.
Well, a reason why they're pissed off is because they know that somebody from Tennessee leaked it.
Yeah.
And they're going, oh, man, we've been doing this like a soldier, and now we're getting closer to the end, and you guys are trying to close the deal by, sliding out some negotiations here through the media, and that's not fair. And guess what? Welcome to the NFL right there.
Yep.
They are not ready for it because that's what happens. And so, you can't respond that way. You're like, hey, man, come on, man. Who leaked this information? But they may not even know that it got leaked. They just think the guy wrote the report.
That's what it kind of seemed like, that he just made this up. But, I mean, apparently, supposedly, maybe this guy says that he's made up reports before. The guy's attacking him. I don't know.
I heard that he said he would put his life on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty big.
Did he say that?
I saw some tweets about that, but I don't know what to believe on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Yeah,
man.
I got Brandon Rushing says, Cover 2, where you can listen to Bama Fan, troll your fan base for half the show. Great business model for the show. Sorry you lost football, basketball, and baseball talking about Alabama. I said, y'all just can't take the heat. You fans are too sensitive.
And it's actually been the whole show today.
It has been the whole show. Well, no. 3/4 of the show because I didn't do anything during the golf show. The golf segment.
Yeah.
So.
Right before you took Virgil's call, you continued to troll.
you got to play the hits.
Yeah,
This is the hits.
This is fun. This is what football's about.
Oh, you're having fun?
Oh, I'm having a blast. I don't care if at this point, this show right now today, I don't care if Alabama just never wins a game this season. I will always have this show. Right. The joy this show has brought me and Blaine. We have had it.
This is the first time I've gotten to really see you squirm a little bit, man. This one here, man, it got you. You can tell that, man, we're in trouble. We got to sign him back.
It's going to be interesting.
Someone said, was this journalist accidentally added to the negotiation group chat? Is that how we found out?
Oh, I know what they're doing. Stop that.
Do you think, I do have a question.
Yes.
Do you think Tennessee maybe got wind that Nico was going to miss this practice due to the negotiations? So somebody leaked the report.
Ooh, I like that. So he thinks that the report was a preemptive leak because they knew that he was going to miss this practice and miss this game. A little conspiracy theory. I like it. You know me, I'm a big sucker for conspiracy
theories. I have nothing to back this up, but is it a possibility, do you guys think?
Yeah. I don't know.
They should have just said he's sick.
I like it.
He's sick to his stomach.
Or you do what Butch Jones did and say he fell on a helmet.
Yeah.
Have you heard that story, Zach?
Yeah, I've heard that story. I mean, this is just fun. I'm super interested to see what happens tomorrow.
Oh, I definitely am. Let's all of us. We should have put that poll out. What's going to happen with Nico? Will he dress? Will he be on the sideline? Or will he be, or not even show up?
Okay, you
got to
guys
put that out there.
Yeah, I'm saying that he's not even showing up.
I'm saying he's going to be dressed on the sideline with a hoodie on.
And if he is, he's going to get booed.
I know. And you're saying he's going to play.
Sure.
Oh, he doesn't really sound as confident as he did. Listen, we didn't get to our running back preview, but that's okay. We still got a long time before the draft, it feels like. Had fun today. You volunteer fans, just chill out. It'll be all right. On Monday, we're going to be live at the Governor's Club. And we're going to be there for a charity golf tournament. Jeffrey Simmons will be there. But we'll have Hall of Fame, an 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, and 2-time Super Bowl champ, Steve Atwater. Do you know his nickname? Do you remember his nickname?
No.
The Smiling Assassin.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to have the Hitman and the Assassin talk safety prospects in the safety position on Monday. Can't miss radio. The Assassin and the Hitman.
Oh, man. My guy, Atwater, man.
There you go. That will do it for us here on Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. 3HL's up next. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.
You can find a quarterback anywhere.